So got kicked out for the last time at 17. And then,
Where'd you go when you got kicked out?
I slept in parks.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Until I got access to my bank account.
How long were you in Georgia for?
I did all my elementary school there.
Okay, and then when did you go to middle school?
New York.
New York.
Queens.
In Queens.
Yeah.
And how long were you in New York for?
Middle school.
Just middle school.
Yeah.
And then you moved again?
Back to California.
Was that going with your dad to these different places?
Correct to Mundo.
Okay, so why was he moving so frequently?
That's a good question. I don't have all the details because I was a kid, so he didn't really tell me everything, right?
Yeah.
But in Georgia, he was a senior pastor at a church. I think he took over a church. I don't know if he planted it, right?
Okay.
But then that church kind of died, and then he got hired as an assistant pastor at a church up in New York. I still remember the acronym, but I don't think I should say it.
That's okay.
And then
I don't think I should say it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. And then because there was a lot of drama at that church.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was crazy.
I'm not. It's okay. Yeah.
And then he left that church, and it wasn't drama that he caused. It was just there was just
Pre-existing drama.
Yeah.
Okay.
there was a reason why they needed help.
Yeah.
But then he moved back to California, and then planted his own church. And
in California.
Yeah.
In LA.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and that's where he's been today.
Is he still with us?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. I'm trying to be respectful. Like he's like, hey.
Unless you know something I don't.
Well, some people are more sensitive about certain things, so try to be empathetic and sensitive to that, I guess, if I can.
It is
So
a good
do
policy.
you still talk to him?
No.
Not really.
No.
Do you think that was after? Did you kind of like have a separation after you got out of high school, or?
Yeah, we had a couple, but the two biggest ones was when I was 17 and when I was I want to say 24, 25. At 17 I got kicked out, but then
Got kicked out?
I got kicked out a lot when I was a kid.
Was it because of something that you did, or something that he did, or
It's
mixture?
both. Sometimes it was for no reason, sometimes it was for a very good reason.
Okay.
But again, my father had a temper,
Yeah.
and I was either getting kicked out or I was getting beat, or a combination of both.
Okay.
Anyways, so got kicked out for the last time at 17, and then
Where'd you go when you got kicked out?
I slept in parks.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Until I got access to my bank account. So ever since I was a kid, I just saved up whatever cash I got from like my grandparents or for my birthdays and stuff like that. And so by the time I got kicked out, I had around like $3,000.
Yeah.
But I didn't have access to it right away. So it took about 2 months for me to get access to that money. And so for the first month, I was staying at like friends' places and stuff like that. But then I pretty much exhausted my stay at all those. And then so I had to resort to sleeping at parks. Funny enough, I like to go to that park every now and again. And I live pretty close by to it, just to kind of remember and like reflect.
See how far you've come.
Yeah.
Because that's a pretty significant difference from like where your life is right now.
Yeah. And it's like that. I don't know how familiar you are with Stoicism, but there's like that Stoic practice of meditating on one's mortality, and it helps. That's like one of the closer points I've gotten to death during that time, right? Anyways, yeah. So got access to my bank account, and I was able to get off the streets and get a really small 1-bedroom studio.
Yeah.
And did the rest of my senior year in high school there and stuff like that.
Where were you? Were you working a job? I would imagine at this point.
Not for my senior year, but after, yeah.
What did you? So you didn't have to get a job because you were able to afford a studio up until you finished school.
Yeah, literally just enough for that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That was probably, I imagine, a pretty tough time as a young 17-year-old guy.
It was tough, but it was also one of the most liberating moments of my life because for the first time in my entire life, I didn't have that oppressive pressure of my parents.
Yeah.
And like, I could like, I remember I was laying down in my bed in the studio.
Yeah.
and I was looking up at the ceiling, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm free. And that, don't get me wrong, I was stressed out in a lot of directions, but I wasn't, for the first time in my life, in that direction. There was no stress coming.
Yeah.
Because like I don't have to bite my tongue. I don't have to worry and be on high alert 24/7 because I have to make sure that I don't say the wrong thing at the wrong time and then have to deal with a huge blow up. That oppressive weight was just gone.
You felt like you were walking on eggshells when you were living with your father for a while?
24/7 for 17 years straight.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard to do that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm walking on eggshells a lot of the time now.
Why is that?
Just from life circumstances. I'll leave it kind of
Okay.
at that. Yeah, it's not from family or anything like that, but I feel like that sometimes too. It is a very hard pressure, and not everyone experiences that or understands what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's like it's like a constant cloud of stress hanging over your head. It's like that, like a burning sensation in the back of your spine.
And then for the first time, it was gone.
Yeah.
And it was just like, whew.
You felt
wow.
like free.
I mean, trust me, there was a lot more pressure from the world, but that pressure was gone, and it was, it was very nice.
You feel like you were intrinsically motivated enough to get after it after that on your own to take care of yourself and stuff?
100%. Yeah.
Do you feel like that growing up like that gave you a certain level of discipline?
Yeah, definitely did. Well, kind of. So, okay, so this is one of the times when two things can be true at the same time.
At the same time,
okay.
yeah.
So I wasn't very disciplined, but at the same time, I had a weird work ethic. Okay, so how I like to describe it was like, when I was a kid, I loved to draw, and I could draw 8 hours a day straight with my fingers starting to cramp and be totally content. So I had a weird focus, like anime, stuff like that.
You draw anime?
Yeah.
Okay.
But also, I didn't really like doing homework, you know? And so I procrastinated a lot when it came to schoolwork.
Dude, I'm not a school person.
Yeah.
I hate college.
So,
I hate school too.
Those two things were true. But when I got kicked out at 17, there were a lot of cold hard truths that I had to swallow. One, okay, you're really far behind your peers, okay? And not just in school, but in life circumstance. Yeah. Because poverty isn't right behind them right now. Like homelessness was just right behind me. And so I had a lot of motivation extrinsically
to get the hell away from that.
Yeah. And so I started reading voraciously. Right.
Reading?
Yeah.
What were you reading?
The first thing that I read was this, I think it was like a book of like 1,001 awesome things. But it's like, I just knew that I didn't know anything and that somewhere out there, there's an answer for me in the book, but I had no idea where to start. And so let me just start reading. Let me get the habit of reading down. And then slowly I started getting into self-help books and really attacking that. I mean, I'm an English major, so it changed my perspective in life.
No kidding.
And I had to learn how to learn because I knew that the way that school prescribed learning wasn't my way, but that doesn't mean I can use that as an excuse to just remain stupid my entire life.
Yeah.
And so that's when I learned about different approaches to learning and really flip things around.
Yeah. I think it takes a certain level of humility to take an accurate self-appraisal is how it's been described to me. You know
One of the things that I'm obsessed with is introspection and making sure that I know exactly where I'm at.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a tough thing to do, man.
Yeah.
Most people don't have the ability, like genuinely just don't have that ability. I don't think that people are born with the ability. I think it's a learned skill that you have to get good at.
True.
You have to practice it. You
know?
And I am my own worst enemy. I'm also my own harshest critic, but I also am able to call myself on my own crap. And I'm able to be brutally honest with myself so that way I can be.
But you also have to make sure that you don't have like a toxic amount of humility.
That's true. Yeah. There's a balance for sure.
Yeah.
There's a balance for sure because you shouldn't be like beating yourself up, but you also need to be able to know that you're holding yourself accountable to
Yeah.
yourself, you know?
No.
And again, like that's a hard thing to do, especially at 17, 18 years old. Like when I was 17, 18, I was so childish. Like I wouldn't have been able to, I would have had to figure it out. Like had I got kicked out or something like that and I was living on my
I had
own,
to
I
grow
was
up
like,
quick. Yeah.
I would have to have that poverty, like that, like
Yeah.
homelessness right on my back too. Otherwise I wouldn't have learned. That was honestly, that was the probably the way I grew up the fastest is once I moved out of my parents' house and was paying for all of my own stuff.